You ready? All right, everyone please rise, we'll do the pledge of allegiance real quick. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'd like to call the regular board meeting for February 2024 to order. So anyone second it?
Who was the second? Fagan,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Parsons.
All right. Move that we adopt the minutes of the regular board meeting from January 10th, 2024.
Second.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye, sorry.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Delegation?
No.
No delegation. Let's see. Treasurer's report?
Any questions on the treasurer's report bills?
No questions at all? I like it.
I kind of have an off-the-wall question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The golf, the fees for the boys golf team, girls golf team, is that similar to a year for a student? Is that, do they golf all year on that or just during the
I think
season?
they get part of that as part of being, is part of that. They can golf out there all year
So they-
with that
so-
fee, is what if I remember correctly.
I think the boys can golf all they want during boys golf season, and the girls can golf all they want.
I'll check on that,
Not
Jim.
during season.
Yeah, I
Because
don't,
the fees are fairly similar to a
yeah,
year.
I'll double check. I thought they could go all year, but I'll have to check on that.
I mean, it would make sense if they could. It would help if they could.
Yeah. I will check. But just yearly fee with the maintenance, everything with us playing out there, so it helps with that, so.
We got all the buses fixed now?
We're still waiting on 22. It's got a warranty issue. Luckily, something with the DEF is not doing what it's supposed to, so luckily we're just under the gun on the warranty. So, but we had to ship it to two different places because both of them don't do warranty work. And so we had to take it to Bonner Springs, and it should be getting the part and getting that taken care of. We got 2 back today, so I think 22 is all that's left, so.
Good.
Yeah.
No other questions? All right, well, I move to approve the treasurer report from January 31st, 2024. We'll approve the petty cash for the elementary school of $91.90, the high school of $39.34, and the payment of the bills to be allowed in the total amount of $299,697.56 for February 14th, 2024, and January 2024 payroll in the amount of $504,809.31.
Second.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
All right, new business, letters training presentation.
All right, Mrs. Paul has some staff here to talk about letters trading. I'll let them get into it so I don't kind of mess it up, but it's just something that we've started with a few staff and we'd like to grow this out. So we want to update the board on what this is, and then we have some things to follow up from that. So we'll turn it over to
Yeah, so we
Mrs.
have
Paul.
a presentation here on the language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling. We've got Kathy Reed is our title reading teacher and Tabitha Renfro, our reading specialist. And we're gonna give you some information on letters.
Okay, so letters training is a professional learning course for instructors of reading, spelling, writing. I just really want to emphasize the point that it is not a curriculum and it is not a program for teachers to follow. A lot of teachers have said this is what I should have been taught in college. It's a professional learning program. It builds your knowledge and your skills so that you can be more successful in teaching reading with any curriculum or any intervention materials that you would use, and make informed decisions when choosing other materials to use to provide instruction. So, for example, our grade school uses Saxon. If they went outside of Saxon, they would have the knowledge to know what to choose to use that would be most effective. Right now, KSDE is offering free letters training to any educator who works in an accredited public elementary school or who provides reading instruction to learners of any age. So that could include middle school teachers, high school teachers, SPED. This opportunity covers the cost of the online course, the materials, and then you have a facilitator who comes and does in-person training. It's no cost to the school or the teacher. Normally, if you didn't have the state paying for this with ESSER funds, the materials alone are $369 a person per year.
So the February State Board of Education meeting, yesterday when it was taking place, Commissioner Randy Watson referred to letters as the gold standard of teaching structured literacy. In March, he's going to present to the State Board a request that to expand the funds for letters training through 2026. He's also going to say that expect that all teachers of elementary, principals, and special education teachers will need to demonstrate their knowledge of the science of reading. So when he's recommending the knowledge of science of reading, this would be by showing successful completion of all the modules of letters training, or pass a new ETS, Education Testing Service exam, reading exam, or other options that would be approved by the State Board of Education. That list to be developed. He's also proposing that the State Board of Education pay for the funding pay for the first two options. Should it be not the letters training or passing the ETS, then that would be up to the individuals or school districts. He also recommended that teachers demonstrate the knowledge of the science of reading before their license renewal. So what that would mean would be that next time I get my relicensed, I would have to show my knowledge. He'd like for this to take in effect this coming July 1st of 2024. And he and the Board of Education are also open to having this include middle, high school teachers as well.
Okay, so Lexia is the company that houses letters. And just a few facts here. So in July of 2022, EdWeek reported that 23 states had contacted with Lexia to provide some form of statewide training. So it's pretty widespread. In 2022, which is a couple of years old, about 200,000 teachers were enrolled in letters training, which was an 8-fold increase from 2019. Okay, so the kind of gold, big deal story in the United States is that Mississippi actually mandated for their teachers to take letters training. They, at the time, were the second worst state in fourth grade reading. This was in 2013. More than 15,000 teachers received training, and in 2022, their reading scores drastically increased. And I know that seems like a lot of time, but you have to think the training takes 2 years and then implementing all of those changes. They actually lead the nation now for overall progress on the NAEP, and they hold the #1 spot for gains in fourth grade reading. So they went from 49th place to 21st, which still, kind of in the middle, but that's a huge gain in just a few short years. Is this one also me? Yeah. Okay. So currently we have 9 teachers and faculty members who are taking this training. I actually signed up for this training before I came to the district, and so I'm finishing my 2nd year. Kathy Reed is in her 1st year. We have a preschool teacher who is taking the early childhood. It's only 1 year of training. And then we have 2 elementary school teachers who are currently in their 1st year. We have 1 middle school ELA teacher who's doing his 1st year, and as well as a middle school interrelated teacher. And then our school psychologist, who I know we share with other schools, he is also taking his 1st year. And then Mrs. Paul is taking the administrator's course for it that goes more into how to implement it within your school. And yours is just 1 year, is that correct?
No, it's 2.
Oh, hers is 2 as well, okay.
So what we're talking about here is we are actually going to be hosting a cohort here at Osage City. We're very excited about that. Some of our teachers right now have to travel to White City to actually do their training, which means we have to hire a sub, and then they have to worry about sub plans, and then we have to make sure that they drive up to White City and come back just safely. So we're going to host that here, which is really nice. We had to have a minimum of 20 teachers. Right now, we don't have that, but we'll invite maybe some other people from other districts to kind of fill that 20 teacher void. Can't have any more than 40. The deadline to sign up, like these ladies said, was May 31st, 2024. That deadline means basically that's when funding is basically going to be cut off, supposedly. And the training for us would actually begin in August of 2024. Right now, the big thing is it's no cost to the district. That's what we've got to think about. No cost to the teachers either, unless they wait. So we have 4 professional development days provided by letters trainers from Greenbush. And again, we said this is going to be held in Osage City. Each day requires anywhere from 3 to 6 hours of actual instruction and training, depending on trainer availability. There's not a lot of trainers in the state of Kansas, so we have to worry about, do we get the trainer that day or do we not get her that day? Teachers are going to learn about resources and techniques that they can take directly back to their classrooms. That's part of what their assignments are, is that they actually have to implement it in their classrooms. And then teachers, like we said, would start training in August, and then it does require a huge commitment of 2 years. So we have been talking to our teachers a lot about that. What does this actually mean, having a cohort? Well, that means that we actually get in-person training conducted by a letters facilitator, which is nice. It happens right here on our campus. Teachers have to complete 2 volumes. So the first year they complete volume number 1, second year they complete volume number 2. Each unit has 6 to 8 sections in it. So there's online videos and modules that teachers have to complete. So not only do they do the training for the 4 days of PD, but they also have to do some stuff all on their own. The big thing is, and this is kind of the incentive that we told to our teachers, if they want to get relicensed or move across the pay scale, if they complete the first unit and pass at 80% or higher, they can pay only $200 and get 6 hours of graduate credit. That's cheap compared to what normal people would pay. They complete the second volume in the second year, they get another 6 hours of graduate credit if they decide to pay the $200. Now, that comes from Mid-America Nazarene University. They can go to other colleges if they want to, but they probably end up having to pay a lot more than just the $200. So it's a big plus for our teachers, just so you guys know.
How many units per volume? Sorry, I can't remember.
Oh, 4.
4. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we didn't put that on there. Yeah, 4, there's 4 units in both volumes.
So how will Osage City students benefit? The classroom instruction will be more efficient. because the teachers are going to use common vocabulary for their reading instruction. There's also going to be a stronger foundation of reading skills that will benefit the students as they move through their education pathways. The number of special ed referrals should go down. And when students are more successful in reading, their confidence increases. And this training would also fulfill the requirements for the state dyslexia trainings that we have to do every year.
Okay, so what are other districts doing? So there are several other districts across the state that are holding cohorts, and that was part of the issue when we talked with Greenbush the other day, was a lot of our PD days are the same. And so there's so many facilitators, and so having to pick who goes where on what PD days is getting a little tricky for them. This came from Kevin Davies at Pitt State, who is in charge of kind of all things letters in Kansas. So he said, as of right now, over 190 school districts have staff participating in letters, and there's 287 school districts in Kansas. So as of January cohort, there were over 6,500 teachers and or staff in letters, over 550 preschool teachers in letters for early childhood, and then over 125 administrators in letters for administrators. And these districts are paying their teachers a stipend because although they are using their PD days to do the in-person training, there's just a lot of time outside of those days for them to complete the reading in the modules.
And two thoughts from Randy Watson. He recognizes that the letters training is a time commitment, but he also said, quote, but I think if you're serious about wanting kids to learn to read, you have to have some assurances that the people who are teaching have the knowledge to do that. And then also, everyone teaches reading.
So that's our presentation on letters. We just wanted to let you guys know what's kind of happening and what might be happening over this next couple of years. We're pretty excited about it. And I think Greenbush is very excited that we're gonna be one of our cohorts for this state of Kansas, so yeah.
Does anybody have any questions?
Are there any penalties if you have somebody that starts and then drops?
No, they just don't get the
Yeah.
credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is the training covered for the 2 years then, or what if ESSER funds, what if they're gone next year?
Currently, and correct me if I'm wrong, currently it is set up that this, whoever is in round one, unit one, cycle one, that would be covered for the 2 years. What Commissioner Watson is hoping to propose is that would continue through 2026. That's to be determined. How it stands now is if we start, those who start in August, their 2 years are covered.
Yeah, because right here it says state funded is only through pre-K through 3rd grade. And then it says,
That's not true.
They changed that.
Yeah.
They
It
changed
started out that way and then they extended it to secondary teachers too. That's why our 2 middle school
I'm
teachers.
just reading the
Yeah,
info we got.
right.
Yeah, well, good, I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
researching, but yeah, it started out that way
It did.
and then it grew. Saw the importance in it.
I think they realized how important letters training is for our teachers that actually do teach reading, which, like they said, everybody teaches reading pre-K through 12. But when we went to college, I don't know, I had one reading class. That was it. Now, I was a math teacher too, but I mean, that's all the classes I had. These guys were actually reading people, and Tabitha would tell you she has her master's degree in reading, for crying out loud, and she never went through the training that letters is having her go through right now. And she thinks it's
This-
valuable
this
beyond
is-
belief.
Yeah, in my 12 years as an educator, this is the best training that I've had. Like, this is what I should have learned when I got my master's in reading.
So another question, on the personal development days, the teachers will be focused on doing this. So what are they gonna miss out on during those days? I mean, nothing from you, like training that needs to be going on for them
Well,
during those days, or?
Actually, that's our professional development committee that deals with those days, so I mean, I try not, I have for February 19th, just because nothing, I mean, we didn't have a lot other things
Yeah.
planned. And we actually had a structured literacy lady coming in. Itzia is what we call her because her name's Itzia, but we've had her come in over the last few years just because we kind of knew stuff like this was coming down through the state when they first identified it as structured literacy, and now it's all of a sudden it's kind of gotten into the letters training. So we kind of had that PD planned already, but you're right, they might miss out on something else, but honestly, I don't care, because the people I think that are gonna take this training are gonna think that this is so much more valuable than any other kind of training that they could take. Now, with that said, Tyler, if they do miss out on something that, oh man, I really wanted to attend that, they can, if they want to, if they miss that day, they can go to maybe Lawrence or some other cohort. Like the closest ones to Osage City, I think, are gonna be Chanute and Lawrence. So they could make that day up at one of those other cohorts if they wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah,
And there,
Well, then that's good to know. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
And there's also by
Life
Kazan.
happens.
Kazan, there's
That's
online.
online.
Yeah, and I would say, I just wanna speak to, because I have had somebody ask me that same thing. This is focused on reading. It is gonna go through everything reading. But I will say, I've had two separate facilitators now. The facilitator who would be coming to us, her name is Kim Parentis. She is, previously, she was a speech pathologist and she was a instructional coach. So I walk away from those days so mentally exhausted because she gives us so much stuff. It's like things that you can use in your classroom for classroom management, classroom engagement, growth mindset. I mean, it is really a holistic approach. So it is focused on reading, but there's a lot of other things that you take away from it that are very beneficial for your classroom. So I do think that you're not just gonna walk away with a bunch of phonics instruction, you're actually gonna walk away with a ton of stuff that is gonna be beneficial for your kids.
So with that, saying that it's very intensive, had they put out like the percentage of teachers that have dropped?
They have not, but I could ask that for you if you would like.
Just curious.
Mrs. Paul, they polled the staff to see who would be interested, and I think the majority are on board, but there's some things, like I mentioned the stipend in my information, and I'll bring that to the board meeting next month. Other districts have done that, mostly used ESSER money for that because of the time that it fell, the ones that had started. So we'll be evaluating the professional development to see that. Some, it really will depend on if that stipend is going to be in place, whether they choose to do this. Mrs. Paul's open it to everybody because she believes in it, which I agree with. But I will share that information with you, and hopefully that is an incentive based on how much time they're going to have to spend outside of their contracted day to do these units and complete the sections, along with the PD day that will be part of that. It is, what'd you say, 6 hours per unit or whatever that you're
For
doing?
training day, it's 6 hours, yes.
Oh, the
in
training.
people,
training.
yeah, so each session, what did we say?
6 hours per unit.
Approximately 2
Yeah.
hours per session.
Oh.
But that
Individual
includes,
work, yeah.
that includes reading the chapter, doing your module, and then the things that they want you to take back to your classroom. So they usually allot like 20, 30 minutes for things that you're gonna take back to your classroom. I feel like our teachers are gonna be like, this is so good, I wanna take it, like I wanna do this in my classroom anyway, so. I will say like the way that they want you to do it is like, for example, in unit 1, you do all of your sessions, and then you have your in-person day and you go over everything unit 1, okay? Now, in an ideal world, if you did all of that before you walked into the in-person training, you would know what they were talking about, you'd have it all done. But in reality, we are professionals, we have lives, we have jobs, we coach, we have kids. So Kim has been very gracious and understanding about that. Sometimes you just don't get it done before you do, you walk into that training, and that's fine because she's gonna go over all of the things anyway. Once your Lexia account becomes active, you actually have 2 years to do all of that online stuff. So even like my second year in-person training will be done in March, but I will still have access to my stuff until next September. So if I'm not finished, and I'll be honest, I'm a little behind. If I'm not finished, I still have time to finish that. So it's flexible. It's not a very rigid schedule. It's not you have to, have this, and this done before we meet. It's very flexible. They understand that it's a huge time commitment and that we have other obligations.
Mrs. Paul, you were saying that we need a few more teachers, obviously with having 9, we need to get to 20. do you foresee needing any other additional incentives to get more teachers involved? If a majority of them are interested, how do you get
More
them?
stipend.
The
To be honest with
stipend
you, we have 12 that are pretty on board, but Natasha and I are two of those people, two of the 12. But I do feel that 5 of them would definitely say we're doing it if there was a stipend. Like they said, a lot of districts have provided the stipend. Some districts, they use the ESSER funds, well, we're out of those, so we don't have those. We talked to Rock Creek, and they basically, because they had the ESSER funds at the time, they paid everybody that completed Unit 1, basically got $1,000, and then they got $200 towards their $200 credit. And then the second year, they did the same thing. Now, that seems like quite a lot, but it was ESSER 3 funds too. Some districts didn't do that. Others, I think they offered like $500. I mean, I don't know.
I've reached out to districts to see
Yeah.
what those samples are so we can have that information to
Quick question
review.
is, could it help if Three Lakes got involved to get more people that's in our district for
I don't-
that or not?
I don't think it's gonna be an issue, Ty, like they said, we're a prime location with other districts to have that cohort. We're gonna make 20, whether it's our people or
We may
outside people.
actually have to put a limit of 40 on
Yeah,
those.
but, cause Greenbush is like, we're a prime location for that, Jennifer
Because we
Haney
have
said.
so
even
many
to get
small schools around that are
Osage
interested.
teachers, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what our hope is.
Yes.
Yeah, right,
I'd
sure.
love to have all the
Yeah.
elementary teachers
For
take it.
sure.
And I understand. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, yeah, I want the board to mandate it, just like they did. But you just can't do that, not, just because like Tabitha said, you've got families, we've got coaches, in the elementary, I mean, and it is demanding, we're not gonna lie that it's not demanding, I mean, what the administration is nothing what they can, and it's demanding on the administration part of it, so, we can't do that, but we really would like to have as many teachers, go through the training as possible, that would be wonderful, just wonderful for our students, so excited of the students that these guys are working with and what they're doing and how they're relaying that information to a lot of our teachers in the elementary school, I just think it's just very, very valuable.
And I know, you had mentioned it to Caroline today,
Yes.
at your meeting.
Yep.
And we
The
do have
director
a
at
couple
Three
of
Lakes.
teachers in our elementary building, who are Three Lakes, who are interested in taking it. One said she would take it whether we ended up being a cohort or not. So I do think there is interest there, with Three Lakes to do it. And then we've talked to just a few schools around us that have mentioned, yeah, we have people who are interested. So I really, again, our people, we really want it for ours, but if we have to pull some people in for numbers, I don't think that's gonna be a problem, so. I will say that, just with the few teachers who have done this training, the changes that we've tried to work with our elementary staff to implement has made a huge difference. And so that's why we're so passionate about it, because if we can get a lot of people on board to take that training and then they see, because it's kind of like, I feel like the first year I was here, sometimes I would suggest something and it was like I had a third arm growing out of my forehead. They're like, what are you talking about? And then a couple of those people went on to take letters training and they're like, oh, yeah, that's why we're doing that. And so I think if that was more people in our school and we did have that common knowledge and that common vocabulary, I just think our reading scores would increase so much and our kids we would have so many good instructional strategies and knowledge going on in our tier 1 groups that then the kids that really need that special help, those would be the kids that we can service.
And to be clear, I did not think she had an arm,
Third arm,
third
I know.
arm out of her head. I'm not.
Yeah, there's been a lot of aha moments and I've been very pleased with the steps that we've been taking, but I would really like to see something a little bit more widespread.
So that's why you had to bring this information so you can process it, and then next month we'll, if you have more questions, reach out to any of those and we can get those answered, but we just wanted to share this with you, where we're headed with that.
Real quick, is the 2 years, I know you keep talking about 2 years, the information that we received said early childhood was 1 year.
It's
Is
just
that
one.
a change? Oh, okay.
No, that one is just one. It's more of
Okay.
like a condensed
Okay.
version, yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
Well, if you, like Mr. Hassan said, if you have any questions, holler at one of us. If we don't know the answer, we'll sure find out for you and let you know.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, ready?
Mhm.
All right, so roof repair quotes.
So prior to the big snowstorm, Dan was working on getting some of these roofs taken care of. We have 3 sections you'll see from the quotes that we have. These areas are anywhere from 15 to 20 years old, so they were scheduled to do that. And then the whole snowstorm kind of delayed all that and got in the way of it. So that would be, these quotes are for that. For those areas, the 6th grade wing, elementary office, and then the elementary east roof. Basically, they'll be putting the DuraTurf membrane on top and just updating that, and hopefully we won't have issues in the near future. But they are, these areas are anywhere from 15 to 20 years old.
And that's it, that comes with 20-year warranty.
Yeah, I think so, yes.
We not do roofs when we did the elementary upgrades? Thought we did roof repairs.
We may have.
I don't know what sections those were though, but I don't know if like that elementary office was one of those sections or.
God, I thought we redid that whole roof, but I could be wrong.
Dan acted like they're all these areas were anywhere 15 to 20
Okay.
years old for roof.
What time frame did they give, did they say?
So they're on, and we've got the 6th grade one going. I mean, they're doing that one and then they're gonna knock them out. So we just need to officially approve this. I know you guys have been in the loop, but I just need you to officially approve it. So recommending the 3 quotes there for a total of $97,655.
Do you want to make a motion to approve the quote?
I'll second it.
Perfect.
Parsons,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
Just on that note, after we get done with these 3 sections,
Mhm.
what are we looking at for age-wise on the rest?
I'll get that to you.
What's left, yeah.
I'll get you.
Is Midwest Coating who we've always used, or?
Recently, they've really started using those and appreciate those. We have some others that we could do that do a different product, but really like the product that we get from them. But that's just recently who we've used. If we have a big project, we will put it out for others to go into. But just a replacement like this, we've been comfortable with using Midwest Coating. So
We use that same company and they do it very well. They back their products on it too. Yeah, it is.
All right, so March Board of Education date change.
So next month's meeting is scheduled during spring break, which is March 13th. So recommending moving that, just so we don't have conflicts with people being gone. Moving it to, sorry, I got the wrong thing here.
It's Monday.
Yeah, March 18th, 7 o'clock, that's Monday, same time. Just moving it to Monday. Three Lakes is having theirs the Thursday prior to spring break. So that meeting will be done, but I don't know if you have conflicts for that night. There's JV baseball is all that I see that's on there on the calendar, so recommending moving it to March 18th at 7 o'clock. We do also need approval to pay bills, because that would be a little later than normal. So you'll still approve them, but we just need to get them paid because we have due dates on those, so, but you will officially approve those at the March 18th meeting.
Where's that JV game at, do we know?
Yeah, I can tell you.
Is it home?
It's home for Linden.
It's home.
That's probably the very first game of the season.
Yeah. It is.
Says it starts at 4.
Starts at 4. What'd you say?
I said it'll probably get snowed out there.
Well,
Real good.
it snowed before.
Does anyone have any
I
concerns?
make a motion, we move the March meeting to the 18th at 7 PM.
I'll second it.
Fagan,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Linton,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
So with that, we need to also approve paying the board bills prior to that March 18th meeting. Do you
Yes.
know approximately,
I don't know what it'd be, I mean, I could share that with you, but I don't know.
Okay.
But just be our typical bills that you see, and I don't anticipate any major ones coming up.
does anyone have a problem with that, paying them early, approving it?
We've done that in the past before when we've had issues with the meetings, and it's just, but you will officially approve all them and
Yep.
see all them, but some of those we have to get paid out because they have due dates on.
I
payroll.
could just do a consensus to pay the bills by the board.
Perfect. Everyone good with that? All right, calendar updates.
All right, current calendar, 23-24, have a few dates we'd like to update and change. First one's March 26th. We've been asked to host League Forensics that day. That takes up quite a few rooms and space to host that. So that would be League Forensics. So Mr. Stuckey has asked that we could dismiss early, and we've talked as an admin team, and we'd like to dismiss the entire district at 1:30 on that day. We do have some state assessments going on in the middle school, so that's why we had a little later dismissal. But that would allow the building to be open, and they'd have some rain, and we wouldn't have as much congestion for them to have League Forensics. So it is on a rotation basis, but somebody couldn't do it, so they've asked us to do it. So that's why we're making that request to dismiss at 1:30. And then April 12th, switching April 5th and April 12th, moving April 5th to no school day. That's smoking in the spring, and be in session on April 12th. Typically, that's what's happened in the past, and I don't know how we missed it for this year, but we missed it. So basically, we'll be switching those 2 days, and April 5th will be a no school day, and April 12th will be in session.
Any questions, concerns? I move that we accept the recommended calendar updates for the 23-24 academic calendar.
Second.
Parsons.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
Litton.
Aye.
Lohmeyer.
Aye.
And we'll post that out by the end of the week and get everybody, we'll send out messages and get all that updated so everybody's aware of those changes, so.
26 will be still considered full day.
Yeah, once we're in session, we're good, so that'll still be considered a full day, Just treating it like a snow day when we've already started, so,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Perfect. 24-25 district academic calendar.
So had a calendar committee, and got some good feedback and information. We kind of ran the gamut of talking about looking at the calendar differently and some different things. We started a conversation, a 4-day week. The committee felt like we weren't really ready for that, to move forward with that. I know Dr. Watson shared some information about 4-day week at the state board meeting this week. I didn't get a chance to see that, but I'm sure at our state update that we'll have on Thursday, he'll be sharing that information with us. But the committee didn't feel like we were ready to start moving towards that direction, but had some good conversations of just looking at things differently. But what it really ended up coming to was looking at 2 calendars. What you have for you, calendar A is just a carbon copy of the current calendar we're experiencing, which is the 171 student contact days and 178 teacher contract days. And the other part of that the committee agreed upon was early dismissal times being consistent at 12:30. So we have some different ones, and it's kind of confusing. So I think the only date we'll have to think about is parent-teacher conference date time is one, but all the others will be at 12:30. For those dismissal times. So that's calendar A, just a carbon copy that you have of the current calendar. Calendar B came from the committee, which basically on calendar B would be increase the school day by 15 minutes. The school day would basically be from 8 to 3:30. Right now we go from 8:05 to 8:05 to 3:20. So it's adding 15 minutes to the day. So when you do that, that allows, based on the 1,116 hours that we were required to be in session, that's the state requirement. We have about 7-8 days built into each calendar for snow days. So we don't have to make up days or add days anytime we do that. So it's kind of nice to have those built in there. But being consistent with that and looking at that by adding 15 minutes to the day, it would decrease the number of student contact days to 165, and which would be 6 less days, and 172 teacher contracts days. So a reduction of 6 days. So where those days come from, they would take a whole week at Thanksgiving. The Monday and Tuesday we would be off on that. May 14th would just be a day out, and then we would end school on May 16th, which is a Friday, instead of going into that next week. So that's where those 3 days come from compared to the calendar A. So good conversation. and I appreciate the feedback that we got. From what I understand, the majority of the staff, teachers, the feedback from the representatives from each building were in favor of calendar B. I didn't have any numbers, but just the majority is what was, told to me. But I can't in good conscience reduce the number of days for students. So I'm recommending calendar A as a carbon copy of what we've done this year for next year, but I'm open to discussion for that. So, but I just can't bring myself to recommend less days for kids.
I know years ago when we talked about this, changing 15 minutes and trying to adjust the block schedule in the high school and the middle school was going to be really challenging to make it effective in those buildings. In the elementary, it wasn't quite as bad, but in the high school, middle school, where they have the block schedules, it was a lot more challenging.
Tim did some numbers, I think, didn't you?
Yeah,
I did not.
Yeah, I thought
I haven't
Tim.
even got to that process.
I would propose to break it down, would be adding like 2 minutes to first and second block and 4 minutes to third and fourth block to kind of help with our split blocks, and 3 minutes to seminar, which really does 2 or 4 minutes don't really make up for the 6 days you're gonna miss with instruction, so.
So did teachers provide feedback as to why they're in favor of?
Not specifically to me. Last year, I'm trying to remember what was on that survey that I don't think it really, was just that, I think just less days, it would be that option, so,
That would be my assumption, but.
yeah.
Just went to-
Have we done any parent interaction or surveys?
No, not on that as moving. If we would have gone that 4-day week, we would have started throwing those, surveys out there to really go that way, to have that big of a conversation. And, having a full week at Thanksgiving, I don't know if that's beneficial. I know some districts in the area do that. That would be enticing to families. But, and ending school earlier, I don't know. We didn't do that, Todd. But it really just came from the committee.
I struggle with the idea of not having kids in the building. I mean, with the board that was here through COVID, and I wasn't a part of that, fought really hard to get kids in the building, and now we're saying we want to reduce that by 5 days. And that's 5 days that we have, or 6 days that we'd have kids that may miss out on a meal that they wouldn't have at home, or maybe unsupervised, or but it just, to me, it does not make sense. Our job is to get the kids in here and get them educated, and I think if we cut back on those days, we're not servicing the kids, which is that's what we're here for.
Well, I struggle trying to understand the benefit of 15 minutes of teaching, and I'm thinking elementary school. Okay, how does 15 minutes add to your curriculum? How does that benefit the kids at all? I don't think in the span of a day it's going to make a huge impact, but losing 6 days, that would make a huge impact. Then you talk about, instead of 15 minutes a day, 2 minutes a day.
Well, yeah, the block that you have, I mean, it's relevant. I mean, it just depends on how you use your time, really, what it comes down to. What I believe our system works. We've shown that it does. We're consistently above the state average on the majority of things that we put out there. What we have works. And again, 15 minutes, I'm not helping my argument here, but it's really just how you use that time, that teacher in that classroom. And, and in the math that I've done in prior times and looking at this, it's about a difference of 9 hours total difference of time by decreasing the 15 minutes is about 9 hours of a difference of total time when it comes down to that, when you work it out. So it's not that big of a difference overall time-wise, but again, bits and pieces of it, is it really that effective?
Right.
And research, all it says, is just depends on how you use that time within your classroom and the building. And, is it going to be longer passing periods? So is that really beneficial? Or longer recess, is that really beneficial? Or is it really more instructional time that you'd be looking at? Or are we going to extend lunch a little bit? I mean, as we go through that and do that. But it really, to me, it's time is just how you use it, whether but I just don't want less days with kids. So it's hard for me to recommend calendar B.
So do we need a motion? I would move to adopt calendar A as recommended.
I'll second that.
Tice,
Aye.
Blomeyer,
Aye.
Parsons, Clinton,
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Fagan.
Alright. Greenbush Virtual Academy MOU.
So each year annually, we partner with Greenbush. They provide virtual school services basically for us. As you see from the information I shared with you, the MOU that we do, we just do this for grades 9 through 12 is only who are I have the opportunity to do this. We don't have a lot of students do virtual. We discourage it from, Natasha's really worked hard, and Shanna, like, we want you here. Only in severe cases where virtual would be best for that student would we recommend that. So based on our usage that we've done in this year, last year we had 6 slots with a guarantee of 3. This year, Greenbush is recommending we only get 4 slots because, again, we are not encouraging kids to use virtual. So what that means that we would have to, if it's just 2 kids, we have to pay for 2 spots. Even if we just have 1, we got to pay for 2. But we could have up to 4, and then it's going to be a little more if we have the 4 spots. Anything over 4, if we get over that, it's an individual price that we would have to pay. And typically we put that back on the parent depending on the situation. So, but I'm recommending the 4 slots with the guarantee of 2, as you see in the MOU and the historical data that's shared with you. But we do this annually.
Is that 8,500 per
Yes,
slot?
yes.
Or per,
Total.
for both slots?
Yeah,
So I see 42.50 for both,
Yeah.
per slot, okay.
Thank you.
And then anything
Do
above,
those count as getting our money if they're through us, through our district?
Yeah, we get virtual, we have a virtual fund as well, and that will help pay for that as we go through that, so. But they provide all the service, the teacher, we just enroll them, basically, Shannon enrolls them, and they work with that. We might have to do some attendance and help with truancy if that's an issue. We get involved with that, but they do all the academic side of that. And then they send it to us to put in, to record in Power School and all that, so.
is that here in-house or is that?
No,
They do it from home?
they do it from home.
So do you think with open enrollment, that'll change it all? I mean,
Again, I don't think we would encourage anybody
Yeah.
to be a virtual student, because we're not a virtual academy, so. If we're gonna do that, we just have our own, sorry.
well, what I'm thinking is like, for instance, say Linden only has 4, and a student from there comes here, but there's an open slot that they already know they're going to do it,
Yeah,
then, that might take one of our kids that are in-house that has something go on and move to virtual, well, then we add another one that would take up a slot. I'm thinking out loud.
So are you asking if I understood you right, we get somebody that wants to come from out of district, but gets here and then says, oh, I want to be virtual?
Exactly.
well, no, I think he's saying if they are virtual in another district and wanna come here,
Either way.
Either way.
Can we restrict our virtual criteria to say we will not take?
right. Well, we'll talk about that in my report about capacity, but that's one thing that we can look at with programs. We could limit numbers of do that. We could say, 4 slots is our number, and if you want to be, maybe we have slots or not, but typically the admin just makes that call of whether we're gonna, and typically it's just in a case where, this is the best option for them.
Could we, in that process, create criteria that says we will limit virtual to in-district students?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it has to be, I think that's through the MOU. I'm pretty sure they have to be in district, our kid to be a part of the virtual.
Okay. That would solve.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
but if they came to us, they would be part of our kid, but you're saying residency.
They have to,
Yeah.
in-district resident.
Yeah.
So I apologize if I missed this. I know that you said that we have 6 spots currently.
Mhm.
How many are enrolled in those spots though?
I have 4 currently enrolled right now. Now, I do have 2 that were online and then chose to drop out of school.
And Shanna counseled with one that wanting to go there today to do virtual, so.
Well, she would be the one that's in my 4,
Yeah, okay.
which in that specific case might be a good option.
Yeah, it just depends on what that is, yeah.
That was gonna be my next question. Of those 4 enrolled, do you feel like it's useful for them, that it is a good option for a majority of them?
I think it just depends on the kid and the situation and the family. Usually how we do this is that if a student comes and they tell me, I say, your parents have to set up a meeting with us. So then usually it's Mrs. Smith, myself, the parents, and the student, and we kind of hear them out and we say like, what's going on? What's your reasonings for not wanting to come to school? It depends. Some kids, it's depression. Some kids, it's difficulties with dealing with peers at school. So, I mean, it's a lot of different situations when we're talking high school. So, you know, we kind of basically have, you know, just a contract that says, like, we still expect you to be passing certain courses. Now, the way that they do it is a little bit differently. So they only take 2 courses at a time, but they focus on those 2 courses and try to get it done. It's similar to our credit recovery program. I'm pretty sure it's basically the exact same Edgenuity process. And so, but they just, it's like a smaller focus for them. Like I said, one kid I've seen it really work, and then in my short 2 years of experience, you know, I feel like it's everything, and they're like, well, I just want to go online, and then they just end up dropping out. And unfortunately, as much as I try to dissuade the families and the student from doing that, it is their right and their choice at that point in time.
Are they eligible for extracurricular?
No,
No,
they gotta be in attendance.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in my experience, the majority do not succeed at virtual. Very few succeed in virtual environment.
and we talk about that with the families, we talk about the statistics, we talk about our hope basically, and for their student too, and what we would like to see them graduate from high school and go on to do good things, but.
So are we continuing this program to allow it as an option
Right.
for students?
Yes.
And shortening, decreasing the amount of spots to meet the needs of the 4 that are enrolled? Is that the kind of idea?
Yeah, because we're not really encouraging it to do, we want them in the building, so.
Yeah.
And so,
But
and that's,
those 4 would stay in those 4 spots?
yeah, be
unless they're
available.
graduating.
Yeah, well, yeah, right, they graduate.
Are they in our graduation rates?
What, sorry?
Are they included in our graduation rates?
Yeah.
I'm assuming they are,
Yeah.
yeah, because they're still considered a
So
student
you're-
that goes to school here.
Haven't transferred somewhere else?
Yeah.
Is everyone good with the 4 slots? All right, I recommend the 4 slots of the virtual academy with a guarantee of 2.
Second.
Fagan.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Litton.
Aye.
Blomeyer.
Aye.
Parsons.
All right, state basketball.
So I know every year that we've discussed this is brought up just kind of as a heads up for the board. You know, if a team were to make it qualify for the state tournament, in order for our staff and students to go and not have to miss out on school, I think it's a good plan that's been in there. So state tournament begins on March 6th in Hutch for the boys and March 7th for the girls. What's been the plan in the past is game times that will be at 2 or 4 p.m. Excuse me, I'm on the wrong. So game times are at 2, 4, 6, and 8. Will be determined by seeding on those days. In the event either girl or boys win the sub-state and qualify for state, if one of the first 2 time slots if they were to play at 2 or 4, we dismiss school at 11 o'clock for the 2 o'clock start and 12:30 for 4 o'clock start. That would be dismiss the entire district, and that's been the procedure in the past. If they play the later games, school will not be dismissed for a 6 or 8 o'clock start. I don't know that we need to take action. It's just kind of a procedure, but do we need to take action on that? But,
You can do that as a consensus of the board.
yeah, so I know that's just what we've done in the past with that, and I think it's a good plan so people can go and be a part of that and not have to worry about missing school and all that. So
Does anyone have any concerns about that?
this is what's been in
Questions?
place for a while, so.
Nothing's changing compared to
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it and that's kind of the way it's operated in the past, so.
With the 11 o'clock, does that still count as a contact day?
I have to check on that. I think
I
if we,
don't think so.
yeah, I don't, it's kind
It's
of,
gotta be half day at least.
I think it's, yeah, at least a half day, but inclement weather is a different story, whether, as opposed to do that, but I can check on that. So, but that's what we'll go with, if we were to qualify a team for state high school tournaments. All right.
All right, activities on snow days.
So with our recent snow days, I'd just like to have a discussion with the board and based on past practices and things to consider for the future. And the way it's been in the past, if we don't have school because of inclement weather, we have no activities, we have no practices, we have no games, school's out, we don't do any of that. And that's just been based on past practices for several years. I heard different stories on different things. But I would like to openly discuss that, you know, to consider, like, if we do cancel school, depending on conditions, that we open up the building for practices or possibly play games if we have games scheduled based on approval from me. You know, honestly, when we do have snow days, we have kids up in the gym playing. They get a key from their parent, they come up and play ball, which is, it doesn't bother me, but they're finding a way. And, you know, the main reason we cancel school usually is because road conditions for buses, you know, to get them in and out. And we consider other people. I don't like high school kids driving in inclement weather, but that plays a factor in that too. But typically, you know, the roads conditions could be pretty good by 2 p.m. And we can make that decision to whether we allow practice and go through that. So I'm just opening this up and getting feedback from you. It's not like we take action on it, but it's just been a procedure that's been in the past. And I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that about snow days and activities, or?
I just wanna make it fair, basically, you know, like, I know some of the boys were in over snow days, but then like the girls like asked for permission, but then weren't given permission. So I feel like if the boys can come in here and get a parent's card or whatever and come in, and whether they're scrimmaging or shooting or whatever, then the girls need to be able to do that too, because I hear both sides of it.
So how would we communicate that out?
Well, ADs would contact me, principals, and I would make that decision whether allowed, and they would, and we have resources with our new Thrill Share, we can communicate that out. You know, going into that, I mean, they have their communication tools, through that, but ultimately I would make that decision, you know, and then we pass it on down.
I think, to your point, it needs to be your decision, and then we need to adhere to that either way.
Yeah. I just don't know if we're gonna get some pushback of why are we allowing practice if we're not having school? I know that's been in the past, and in districts I've been in, it's been both. But I don't see if it's, you know, if it's cleared off and the conditions are okay, why we can't have practice or possibly even play games, you know, if the other school districts, you know, up for that. So,
I mean, we do it in reverse.
yeah.
I mean, if it's gonna get bad at night, we've canceled games.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And it's your call. So
Right.
I mean, leaving it up your call. I mean, if we play games and practices.
What do other districts do, you know?
Just depends on the district, really. You know, like where I was at, we were 21 square miles and our roads were clear at, you know, by 1:30 and we were having practice and everybody was okay with it in the community. It's
I
just,
know there was times over this last snow and cold spell, we went days
yeah,
without practice.
yeah.
It probably hurt us a little bit.
Yeah, it could. But just, I know just giving kids something to do is a good thing. And they'll be supervised with coaches there and, you know, not necessarily being supervised right now when they come play pickup ball and do that, you know, and we can monitor with the cameras and stuff.
They're out anyway.
Yeah, they're out and
They're out
about,
sledding.
yeah.
They're out doing something.
Yeah, so,
Do you wanna put a time, like, you'll make the call by 1 o'clock?
yeah, by 2 p.m. we'll put that out, you know, to be able to have practice. So it'll be like 1 o'clock, but we could have activities after 2, but yeah, definitely make that call working with the
You're
admin.
saying the same thing on a game day.
Yeah, if the other district's good and the conditions are good. The issue on those nights is kids getting to the school to get on the bus to go to games, because usually the main roads are clear to get into the school, but those conditions, but we can, you know, coaches can go get them, or we can figure things out if that's an issue and they want to come, but if it's that bad, we're probably not gonna play ball, so.
Just to make it clear, they won't be a mandatory practice.
Yeah, right, that too, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It won't be mandatory. You give that option to, you know, I can't make it in, and that's not held against them in any way.
Strongly encouraged.
Yes, but not mandatory.
Down
So-
the road for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, when you're out there, I mean, I know some of that was an issue, but we definitely take those into consideration, just like calling off school, you know. But I just don't know how much we'll hear back from the community on that, but just trying to make sure you guys are okay with that as a group.
Do we have to approve that or?
No, it'd just be a procedure that we'll operate off of, and again, we're just going off past practices, but I wanted to bring it up to get feedback from you to make sure you're okay with that change. So.
Probably better for the kids that it's organized and if you can make an actual practice out of it.
I'd say your coaches would say.
Lunch too.
Yeah, sure, yeah, we'll get that, I'm sure. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, so we're on to building reports. Any questions on the building reports?
But thank you for putting them together.
Yeah.
I did actually read them.
I always feel like mine are so much, and then there's always something like, we posted it on Facebook, but Cadence Eastman, she's, a female wrestler, so she's going to state, so that's exciting, obviously, since we haven't had that here at Osage. Paige Burke also, this was something else, Miss Bruna submits to the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards, and I think that they get over like 2,000 works of art. And so they were submitted by Madison Bourne and Paige Burke, and I guess it's like a prestigious art award. And Paige Burke, anyway, she ended up getting an honorable mention for her drawing and illustration, Watch Out, He Bites. So I thought that was pretty cool, just a couple of things to add in there too. I'm sure I probably missed something, so if I have to anybody, I apologize. There's just always a lot of things happening and going on in the high school.
Just to update on absences, last 3 days, Monday, we're at 7.6% absenteeism for the district. Tuesday, we're 8.6%. Today, we're at 7.6%. So I didn't get a chance to forward that to you today, but I will keep, when Lisa shares that with me, I'll keep forwarding you that information.
I don't want to open up a can of worms, but I know during COVID, we were very concerned about certain percentages of being out of school. It doesn't seem like we're so much concerned at this point.
20% is my concern. When we're getting to 20%.
Number, but it's kind of like, okay, hey, we're at this point,
Right.
And I understand a certain number of kids are gone in a certain, every single day.
Right.
I think it would be important to maybe publicly state, hey, if we get to this threshold or close to this threshold, then we could consider, closing school.
Right.
How that goes. Now, granted, I get the fact that this is a very exception to the rule, but you get people that will, and you start throwing numbers out, and then people speculate on, oh, that's a lot of kids. Oh.
I'll include that with the change in dates. I'll include that information in there.
We do that post-COVID, like around Christmas one year.
Closed down
last year. Yeah, a couple.
Last year we did, yeah.
Are we being able to cover classes? And are we doing all right, guys, with class coverage?
We're still doing okay in the high school.
Yeah, Reman have another super spreader though.
That's Friday.
That's Friday.
Like this spike. Numbers will spike.
That's good times.
But I can get that out, Corey, with that this week.
I don't know for sure, but I think the high school students appreciated the dance on Saturday. I felt like that they were excited about that, so that was a lot of fun.
Very good.
Are you gonna talk about graduation?
Yeah, my report.
Any other questions on the building reports? No, thank you everyone for putting those together, appreciate it. Superintendent report.
Okay, first, JBCC, non-resident student capacity update. Still working on those numbers. We're kind of, high school has been our biggest hiccup of determining capacity for that. So we're still trying to talk that through. I'm still learning from Greenbush and other SUPs, kind of looking at other districts that we do that. But I'll be sharing more specific detailed information with you. The other part of that is we have capacity, our main capacity, which would be, grade level capacity is what we're looking at. But then we're looking at sub-capacities like we just talked about, virtual school, special ed programs, drawing a blank on them right now.
Homeschool.
Yeah, pathways could be part of that, dual credit, speech, OT, PT, those services that kids get. We can only take so much without adding additional services and looking at that as well. So, we hope this purpose of this policy is not to add more cost to the district. And so you look at those sub-programs, even preschool, what those limit numbers are, transportation, not that we're going to go outside of the district, that's not the plan, but just taking on more, looking at those sub-capacity lists and working through that. And so those are another part of that. Are we just going to be trading kids? I don't know. I don't know how much it's going to affect us, but I'll be sharing more detailed numbers with you, in the near future. And then next month we'll have a good open conversation about what those numbers are and look to move forward on that. So, but that's where we're at. We're working through the high school part of that and then looking at these sub-capacities and kind of seeing what other districts and recommendations are as we go through that. So
I've been approached, just to clarify, just so I'm right.
Yeah.
They can come to school here, but if they wanna play athletics, they still gotta move into the district.
Transfer.
Or set out their appropriate time.
Transfer rule still applies if they don't move within the vicinity of the district.
Thank you.
Right, Tim?
That
Thank
is
you.
correct, unless some
A bona fide
timecation
move.
releases that.
Yeah, so they're, right now, they're just saying they're going as is, so. But if they do come and as a non-resident student and are able to get in, but they would still have to follow the transfer rule.
Thank you.
What's the transfer rule? Is it the semester?
It's year.
Middle school, it's a semester. For high school, it's a year.
So you gotta make a bona fide move to the vicinity of the district
In order to play right away.
in order to be eligible for athletics activities. So we'll be bringing that information to you next month, more detailed, but just kind of letting you know where we're at on that. February 19th, Professional Development Day on Monday. We have a lot of things planned. One of the big things we have is threat assessment training that we'll be doing with counselors, the principals. Felix is part of that, the SRO. And really, that KSB will be here to do that training. Other districts will be here. Staff from other districts will be part of that. It's really just helping us determine a level of a threat and what strategies and resources we could do based on the level of that threat. If it's, a minor threat, kids just having a bad day, he spouts off the mouth, we don't feel like there's a real level, threat, here's what we could do and give you those tools to do that. If it's a major threat and it gives you the tools and resources to deal with that and move forward with that. I think we're missing that component within our crisis plan. I've been trained in it, but I won't, the staff is, mainly the counselors have requested this to just really help them evaluate that, working with the principals so we know what steps to take depending on the level of that threat. So other districts, we got 3 or 4 other districts coming in to be part of that training. So that'll be the main part of the day that we'll have going on, but we have some other Greenbush opportunities, virtual. Natasha, you're doing some CTE stuff, or is that in the afternoon?
Yeah, just if they need help with filling out their pathways.
Dean
Sorry,
always-
I was still on the modules because I've been working on those and
Oh,
it
yeah.
takes like 6 to 7 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So in my spare time,
Oh,
I'm
that's
trying to
good,
and take notes because I think
Yeah.
post-test is really hard.
Yeah. I did all that way back when. So that's for the threat. So there's two different levels for threat assessment training, kind of similar to letters training. There's level 1. All the principals are going to do the level 1 training. And so they'll be, because ultimately they'll have to make the decision of how we're going to address the threat. But, and the counselors and the SRO will be a level 2 training, which is basically talking about the strategies and the tools that KSB will go through. And so, so I kind of put a time crunch on them to get, they should have it done, but if they don't, it's not the end of the world. But in order to be fully accredited for this training, they have to complete the modules to do that, and we have time to do that, so.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes.
Sorry. Just the threat assessment, so a minor threat, is anyone tracking those over time?
That would be part of that process. I mean, we do document, in our log entries for Power School that, if it's, we do document that, whether the counselor does or in our, if it becomes where an offense, a discipline offense, it's documented too. But this will help us be able to go through that process of documenting, building procedures to do that. So we don't miss some of those, couple minor things and then we forget about those and, oh, well, here's a major one. So, but for the most part, we do document those, whether it's through the counselor or through into our Power School student information system. But that'll help us in that process and talk about that on Monday.
Are those perceived or potential threats, are they, if a student wanted to transfer to another school, would that follow them with their permanent records?
It always
Vice
comes
versa,
in,
will
yeah.
come-
Hopefully they have that information documented. But if they're on suspension from a threat of that or something, we don't have to take them through that, So busy day planned, but a lot of things. Dina always has her stuff going on with her staff for that day. But I'm drawing a blank on what it is for Monday.
Well, we have structured literacy training with ITSEA, which here's ITSEA, here's letters training, and my staff's kind of right in the middle, so some were like, oh, no. But we're gonna go through it. And then my 3rd grade teachers, they're doing some training with really great reading. And then I feel always bad for my elective teachers, but they're going to do some training with Tabitha Renfro on science of reading, letters.
Busy day.
Good stuff.
High school graduation requirements. So I've shared some information with you and some email updates to do that. Just just really get you on it's coming, we're not making any recommendations tonight or anything, but when we do handbooks, those things will be coming. And it's really looking at more opportunities for kids to earn credits. And it starts with next year's freshman class. By the time they're seniors, all these requirements will be in place for them. So we gotta have to build our system to be able to accommodate that. And there's different opportunities to earn credits, where they're calling post-secondary assets. I think I've shared that with you, where,
Say I brought a packet for you guys, if you guys want all the graduation requirements and post-secondary packets. And then also Mrs. Smith, she's kind of here too, just in case you guys have any questions. But we also, well, I shouldn't say we, Mrs. Smith made a very colorful, nice, this is what we currently offer and this is what they will have to then be expected to have. So if you guys want a copy of that too, we could take one. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. But it's really just building this foundation of your, being informed. But we are considering adding more credits, additional credits for graduation, being on the block schedule. We have some flexibility to do that. But it really there's some different things and flexibility for kids to earn a high school diploma that compared to what it's been traditionally, I guess, another way to say that. So, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. You guys have questions?
Are the assets being added for sure, or is those just options?
Those are being added for sure, and they have to have two.
They have options on which two they can choose. They can pick two from the academic, or they can pick two from the career, or one of each. That they have the option in how to do that, but they will be required to have.
Okay. I look at the post-secondary like JROTC. Are we offering that, or how would we do that? Yeah.
We currently, I counted them up the other day, we offer 22 activities, clubs, and organizations in the high school.
Well.
So, I mean, I don't know how to get in contact with anybody. I don't know how to get that started. You wanna start that, PJ?
Nope, I don't. Well, I mean, and then you have 4-H and stuff like that. I know we already have that.
Eagle Scouts and different things. I mean, just good things that kids are doing that are beneficial for them, but it's not directly related. So that can be factored into their high school graduation. So again, it's just expanding that and getting some more opportunities to experience things and count it, really, if they do community service. I mean, they can validate all that, and that could be an asset to have,
So just another question for the college credits for high school. Are we gonna stay about the same with all the college credits and stuff for the juniors and seniors and?
We're gonna do our best, but that always will change with staffing. So it'll just kind of depend on the next couple of years.
Have we figured out the credits that I've asked you about for Allen County with the class that some of the kids are going in now, costing a lot more than it has previous? I've even called Allen County myself and talked to the lady and she had no idea. She had no idea.
I got half of an idea. This is what I surmised by 3 phone calls. One, if we teach it in-house, I think it's about $375 for them to take a 3 credit hour class. So that's like Ms. Watkins' classes.
Yeah.
But if your student is taking an online class, then it's $75 more. Now, here's my question. We offer in person, they use our building, for comp 1 and 2. Now, they only meet on white days, W2, on those 2, when white days fall on Mondays and Wednesdays. But those kids still, and I know, cause my own kid is one, that, it was $450.
Yeah.
And they call it an out-of-district fee. So I didn't get to why it is that way. I did ask that question again earlier this week, so we'll see. I did learn that they are going to be coming out with some new information about tuition for high school students that I don't know that I'm should release yet. I think it's theirs to release, but that will be very, very exciting, I think, for our parents about the amount per credit hour.
The $50 credit hour that I was told.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
So they've already announced it. We already know.
Well, I'm wrong.
So I'm just telling you.
What did they tell you?
$50 a
Allen
credit hour.
County told you that?
Correct. Yep, they told us.
She told me like 3 weeks ago, and she's like, well, I don't know if it's like out there yet, and I was like, okay, well, I won't say anything, but 50, for high school students, they're looking at it to be $50 a credit hour.
Per, like, every course?
I was kind of upset when I called because I've talked to her twice and she's ran in circles both times and I'm new here, but I've been here 6 months. Well, I'm like, man, you know, I need an answer because I can get my kid out of it and pay one fee when they go to school next year. I mean, and so finally, that's when she told me about the $50 credit for every credit moving forwards after this year is what she told me. So.
And
Well,
that's
this is the
what,
first
that's
time
what I
I'm
was
hearing
told, the same. And so I didn't get any different answers, I got exactly what you got. Now, as far as what classes we can offer here in our building, we would always like to grow that because I will always be an advocate of in-person classes.
Yeah.
Now, the trick is the number of students you have to justify an in-person class has grown over the years. And I think you have to have like 8 or 9. So it's sometimes tricky to get 8 or 9 students to be willing to take this advanced level class, all at the same time. So I would love to keep a comp class. I love that we have a music appreciation class that we can offer and all the math options. So I think if there's a way for us to continue that, I think we would like to. The other thing we can look at is Burlingame has their building that they're looking at potentially having some Allen County classes offered there. But again, we would need to see if there's enough justification for the number of students that we have that it would make it an actual college credit class.
Okay.
So, but I don't know if they would charge us out of district, I don't know how that shakes out. I would be curious, those would be good questions.
Is there any other schools we could partner with aside from Allen County that might be a little more affordable? Have we explored that as an
I
option?
did bring that up, and then I got by the way, we're gonna do the $50 thing. And no, we're not gonna do better than $50 a credit hour.
But we are in ACC's catchment area, that's their primary.
Okay.
If they don't offer it, we can go elsewhere.
And have the Board of Regents, have they said anything about helping regulate those costs for high schools and making it across the board? Is that something maybe we could?
It's a little tricky because there's quite a bit of funding out there now, thankfully, for our tech programs. I mean, the tuition is paid for, there's scholarship money to help pay for their tuition or their fees and their books and supplies. There is nothing. There's a few scholarships for juniors, very few, to do college classes. So basically, that's just out of pocket. And the real trick is to do like the Board of Regents. If you want to do that curriculum, you're required to do college level courses. Well, how do you do that if you can't afford that and there's not any extra, that's one that I struggle with, because if that's the bar we're setting, I think there should be means for students that don't have those abilities.
Yeah.
We've caught up with tech and I think that's great, but I think there's probably a little more to do with college classes.
Yep, I agree. If the state of Kansas is pushing additional college type classes in high school, they should be helping out a little bit more than what they are maybe. Great.
So you'll be seeing this as we won't take action on this till the handbooks come out and do that in either May or June, depending on when we're ready to do that. But just some information for you to have as we work towards that. And but we'll be adapting to that, the new graduation requirements for next year's freshmen. So, anything to add?
No, I think I interjected enough.
You're good. All right, early childhood update, just kind of, looking at, we talked about expanding, early childhood, increasing the goal is every kid has at least 1 year of preschool before they come to kindergarten. That's the goal. And we don't necessarily have the space to do that right now. And then the talk has been, where does childcare come into that? And, I've been in the position that I don't want the district to have to run a childcare because it's just a lot on a district to do that. Typically, we lose money on that. But could we provide space for someone to provide daycare, childcare in that, in the future to do that. So I've been working with Greenbush Learning Tree, and they've helped districts all over the state in focusing on early childhood, whether it's, preschool or childcare, and that combination of both. So we just recently met with them, talking to a local daycare provider, childcare provider, and what her spots are. We kind of got an idea of how much space we would need to accommodate, 4 classrooms of preschool, and then the number of spaces depending on the license that this childcare provider has, which is up to 100, and you have to have certain regulations. So we've got that space put together. I met with a local architect, and she's getting a proposal together to put together some drawings to give us an idea of what that could look like if we have the space to do that. And I'll bring it to the board before we move forward to request, going to the Jones Fund and making a request to help do that. I mean, there's a lot still going on with that, but that's the goal is really right now is to get a visual of what that could look like, and do we have a space and an opportunity to do that, or based on feedback from the board or others that are involved with preschool, that do we make some adjustments with that. So that's where we're at right now. So we're still getting that information together. Hopefully we have some draft drawings in the near future for the board to look at, and then we can move forward with possibly looking at making a request for some assistance, not just with Jones but with other area providers and things of that nature. So but that's where we're at, meeting with the local architect to kind of get some drawings going based on the information and work due. The next step will be working with Greenbush is putting numbers, how much cost this is going to be, and through the pro forma we can get an idea of what cost is that goes into just maintaining that building and just annual cost and all that. That'll be included for the board to have information to do that. So that's the next step, working with the Learning Tree with Greenbush. So I'll be sharing that information with you in the near future. So questions about early childhood?
Are they talking like building a whole new building, like section?
That's a possibility. The Wicks lot over here, the district owns that, and Mr. Hutton had a vision for that. So kind of carrying that on and see if we could fit all that into that spot, or, just might lead to other options. I don't know, but that's kind of where we're starting at to do that. To again, we're in what's called a child care desert in Osage County.
Okay.
And the needs there, so the needs there, and again, could we provide a community? I'd call it a community space for not just child care and preschool, or maybe the district office move there, just what that could look like, but also birth to 3 to come in, parents as teachers to have access to that area where they could come and do parent education classes, work with kids. It'd be kind of a community space. And, some districts have, nursing or health, providers in there as well. Is that something we should consider? I don't know, just depends on what the space will allow. And so we're trying to build that to get an idea of what that would look like. So,
Sky's the limit kind of deal?
Could be, yeah, but space is a limit. So, just we're kind of landlocked here, and there's some opportunities there, but I think putting it on paper and visualizing that will lead to a great conversation that we could go through. So
when you say birth to 3 coming in, is that in addition to the 4 classrooms for preschool?
Yeah, that would be outside of like the school day, or, that they'd come and work with family. Maybe in the evening, we have an area that they could access as community, and they can have their resources there. And
like a flex space.
Yeah, just to do that, they could keep their stuff so they don't necessarily have to meet at the family's home. We can do that, in a neutral environment, and it could be parents as teachers as well. We just give them access to that, to have that. So that's what some early childhood centers are doing. So it makes it more than just preschool and childcare.
How is my understanding correct that Burlingame's able to make money off of this?
No.
Are they offsetting funds somehow?
No.
No.
They're taking a hit.
Okay.
So that's what's been communicated to me. All right, just update supplemental index committee. We did meet, got some good feedback, and looking at the indexes and getting rid of some obsolete ones and adding some. Again, none of this will be official until negotiations. That'll have to go through negotiations and looking at those conversations. So just evaluating some of those indexes will be part of the conversation, and was part of the conversation, but we'll continue in negotiations. Another component is extended contracts. Right now we call it extra months. there's no definition of what extra months leads to, so I would like to change the wording to extended contracts, and this is the outside, you know, like counselors outside of their teacher contract, which they work under, they have extended days or extended contract, and we define what those days were and how they were paid, so, but again, then I'll have to go through negotiations, and any changes are there, but it was good feedback, and I appreciate the people that participated to bring stuff to the table to consider as we move forward with that, so. End of the school year budget, Fred Meyer, we work with Greenbush, and he's worked with the district for years in helping with the budget, just kind of have an outside set of eyes and working through that. It's an offer that Greenbush, a service that Greenbush provides, and Fred's done that. So we'll be having our meeting pretty soon to look at the end of the year budget projections, and so we can make plans for purchasing at the end of the year and looking at that, getting ready for negotiations. And we haven't scheduled that day yet, but it's we're on Fred's list to get that done, so we'll be sharing that information with you when we get that done. So, negotiations training, those that are on, I think it's you, Jared, Callie, and PJ, you have to have an annual training, and I'm going to send you guys a link that you can do that on your own. I'll give you a couple options. Greenbush has an option and KSB has an option. It's free, but you have to, part of negotiations, everybody has to go through an annual training every year. So I'll be sharing with that. We can do it as a group. I'll communicate in email, or you can just do it on your own time. I know everybody's busy to try to make that work, but we'll put it out there, but I'll send you an email with that information, and we have a resource to provide that training for us prior to negotiations. We have to exchange letters by the end of next month, and so to get that process going, but I will share that with you in the near future. So, I don't know if you've seen in the paper, Osage County tax payments. We haven't. It took us a while to get our December payments in January. They're claiming, staff issues, software issues, training issues, time issues. We did get our December last week payment, and we should be getting our January payment soon. I don't know, have you seen a date yet?
By the end of the month, and that's our big payment of the year. It's about 49%, so.
So our cash balances are okay to be able to pay our bills and do that. Some of the districts are, they need some of that funding.
Contingency.
Yeah, so, but we're okay in doing that, but just wanted to be aware that that they're telling us they're gonna get it to us, and we're hoping that we'll get it on time in the future, but they're having some issues at the county to be able to get those out on time, so. But it's not causing a direct issue to us right now.
Right now.
Yeah, but if it continues, it could be challenging. But this is not unknown to happen in Osage County, so from my understanding. Lastly, we got the radios all installed on the buses. We still have the vans. We have 3 vans that we're gonna put the radios on. So with that, basically we went for 400 megahertz radios to 800 megahertz radios. So we have 6 different channels that we can basically use that will basically cover the state. We're on the KDOT tower now, antenna. So we can, if we go to Hutch for state basketball, we can still communicate from the district for a bus driver on the radios. It's a lot clearer. They're not staticky like the old ones. It's just a whole better radio system. But we got all the bases updated, the antennas. We do have one bus that we need to finish, or we have the 22 that's in the shop. I'll get that installed. And then we have bus 21 of the new ones. We need to hook up the antenna. So that's all we have left to do. So we have the parts for that now. And so that's our other activity bus that we use, kind of a spare bus. It's the newest bus. And so that's why we have to run the antenna. We're just going to do it. Luke and I will take care of that. So, but Chris and Chris Kirkpatrick helped with that, and Deputy Brenner came up and helped with that. He's been doing it for the sheriff's vehicles, so he kind of showed us the ropes and helped out as well. So we appreciate him doing that. So, but they seem to be working good, from what I'm told. So, so that's my report for the evening.
Any questions? No? All right, I move we go into executive session to discuss supplemental positions and certified positions pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under Tacoma. And the open meeting will resume here in the boardroom at we'll say 8:45 with superintendent present, please.
Second.
Blumeyer,
Yep.
Linton,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Heppenstall, Peterson.
Aye.
right, we're back in open session. I move that we accept the resignations of Caleb Masters as the IT coordinator, Kelsey Giese as the assistant high school volleyball coach, and Jeff Whitmer as the assistant middle school boys basketball coach. Also accept the recommendations of Dakota O'Rear as the elementary counselor, Heather Lieber as a high school fax teacher, Madison Curtis as the elementary care room, Supervisor John Petrie as driver's education, Alicia Nunez as IT coordinator, and John Petrie as the assistant middle school track coach if numbers are needed.
Second.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Fagan,
Aye.
Clinton,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Tice,
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Peterson,
Aye.
Parsons,
Aye.
Lohmeyer,
Aye.
Heppenstall,
Aye.
Tice, Fagan,
Aye.
Clinton.
Aye.